What do Juul, Apple, Amazon, and Netflix all have in common? Bottom line, they're all addictive. In addition, they've all gone vertical, making outsized investments in their own distribution. In my brand strategy course, we explain the consumer purchase journey using the clock as a metaphor. Between 12 and 4, we have pre-purchase, 4 to 8, purchase, and then 8 to 12 post-purchase. Typically, brands are exceptional at one stage of the clock and do the other two at industry standard. Advertising stalwarts, including Nike, focus on pre-purchase while maintaining average stores and non-existent loyalty programs. The Gap focused on distribution, reinventing the store with bleach blonde wood, bigger dressing rooms, and attractive, thoughtful, high EQ sales associates. Starbucks is an interesting example of post-purchase with more than 16 million loyalty members and more cash on its loyalty cards than some banks have on hand. Apple, who like Jesus should not be compared to other men or companies, has pulled off the impossible. Specifically, it is good at all three. Name Apple's core competence, you're going to get a pretty long list. Juul dominates the burgeoning e-cigarette market, accounting for more than 70% of sales. The company has grown exponentially, selling around 16 million devices in 2017, up from just 2 million in 2016, 700% growth. The company has raised $14 billion and is valued at almost $60 billion in the secondary markets, making the firm worth more than Tesla, Target, or Kraft Heinz. The firm hasn't forsaken pre-purchase and has served an estimated 233 million display ad impressions in the first half of 19, 8 times that of Philip Morris, which owns Marlboro. However, Juul's ability to drive value via pre-purchase investment or advertising is under assault. The company faces impending regulation and public scrutiny for concerns around teen vaping. The company is running most of its online ads in January, clearly positioning the product as a cessation tool instead of trying to market to the masses throughout the year. Juul also deleted its Facebook and Instagram accounts in November of 18. As Juul pulls back from advertising, it is reallocating this capital to distribution. 90% of Juul sales occur at a brick and mortar store, but the experience, in a word, awful. Devices are mainly available where consumers traditionally buy tobacco: dingy delis, convenience stores, and smoke shops. Sometimes referred to as the iPhone of e-cigarettes, Juul looks less like a cigarette and more like a luxury USB stick with a subtle, streamlined black and silver design. That's right, you can find me and Sophie Turner smoking our sexy USB sticks outside the Bowery Hotel. Why? Because the Queen of the North wants to get down with the Prince of the Lane, because I have just joined the Night's Watch. That's right, crows before hoes. Just as Apple realized it couldn't reinforce its aspirational positioning by distributing through Best Buy or Circuit City, Juul can't maintain this premium brand positioning at 7-Eleven. So the company is taking a page out of Apple's playbook, moving to control its own distribution and brand experience. The firm opened its first store in Toronto in late July, and rumors of a second store in Texas surfaced in May. According to LinkedIn, 2 retail store managers already work for Juul in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The company seems poised to expand across the pond as well. They have a job posting for a retail development manager in Germany, and according to LinkedIn, 1 Juul store manager already works in Israel. There's other evidence Juul has prioritized stores. Just as Apple hired traditional retail leaders, Juul has looked to staff its C-suite with retail experts. In April, Juul hired its first CMO, Craig Brommers, the former CMO of Gap. The company also recently hired Perry Fair as VP of Global Creative and Design. He previously led partnerships at Red Bull and creative at Beats by Dre. Juul is also poaching talent directly from the source, Apple. According to LinkedIn, 90 Juul employees have previous work experience at the computer hardware maker. That's 3% of Juul's workforce. This is a smart move for Juul. They have the capital to invest. They're getting PR from the decision and reallocating capital from advertising, the first part of the clock, to distribution should help assuage regulatory concerns and solidify Juul's premium positioning. There is a key learning here for other companies that don't control their own distribution. Best-in-class brands, including Warby Parker, Restoration Hardware, and Apple, are unfurling the clock and tilting its x-axis, shifting capital out of brand building and into distribution and post-purchase. Cigarettes and e-cigs are just begging for better distribution, and Juul is responding. What other industry is ripe for this reallocation of capital? Beverages, drinks. Diageo, Pernod Ricard, and AB InBev should take note. There's enormous opportunity for someone to become the Sephora or Apple of drinks, just as Juul seems to be poised to do the same for the e-cigarette industry. Welcome to another installment of Office Hours, where we look at questions unscripted, have not seen these, legitimately to try and be more authentic. From Nate Adkins, 14. When do we talk about how expensive college is and how a family making $250K with a $1.2 million home has no equity and no cash after paying $600K for their other kids' college? So we have a caste system in the United States. We like to think we're a meritocracy. We're not. We have a caste system. It's called U.S. universities. And that is the primary indicator of your prosperity moving forward is your educational degree or your certification. And the primary signal of what kind of education or certification you're going to be able to get is your parents' income. So put another way, the only people who are allowed to be innovators in our economy right now are people whose parents are rich. And we as academics are co-conspirators. We used to be a countervailing force to this, reaching into middle-class households, as the University of California did with me, pulling me up by the scruff of my neck and then flinging me forward. The majority of people in college make up one of three cohorts, mostly upper middle class and rich kids, foreign students who pay full freight, and then the third is some remarkable young people from impoverished or poor households, and we publicize those people, which is the neosporin or the ointment on the caste system, so we feel better about ourselves. But the reality is the war on the middle class starts right now, unfortunately, with our economic policy and also with academics who have become drunk on exclusivity and think of ourselves as luxury brands, not as public servants. U.S. universities have lost the script. We need a few things. One, we need to start taxing endowments who are not growing their first-year seats faster than inflation. If you are Harvard and you have a $37 billion endowment and you're not expanding seats, you're not a nonprofit, you're a private enterprise, and we should tax the shit out of that and redistribute it. We also need to do away with tenure, which is nothing but a tax on young people. At some point, people are going to connect the dots between tenure and debt on young people. That was a long-winded answer. I have a lot to say on this, Nate Atkins 14, but I appreciate the question. More to come. Okay. From Oren Thomas. Oren Thomas! You sound exceptionally, that's an awesome name, Oren Thomas. I'll just leave it there. Section 4 is the new business hotness for Galloway bite-sized video content. Is that the question? Is Section 4 the new hotness for Galloway bite-sized video content? So what is Section 4? I don't know, and nor does anybody else at the company right now. Hear that siren, low-budget production. Anyways, we're trying to reinvent business media through short-form videos and podcasts. Beyond that, we have no fucking idea what we're doing, but I love the fact you use the term hotness, and hopefully we'll keep it up. That's all I got. Office hours. Boom, another one down.